when you take a look at the overall real estate market at the Jersey Shore, Chris pointed out this a little bit earlier. These are want tos, not have tos. I think when you look at the overall market in itself, this market is driven by inventory. There is a lack of inventory, and as long as there is a lack of inventory, it doesn't matter what town you're in. It'll be a difficult market from a standpoint of if you're buying a property, there's not much for you to choose from. If you're on the listing side, there's not a lot of listings, so you have to go out and you need to find those listings. The people that need to want to sell, you need to go out and you need to find them. So value-wise and stuff like that, sure. For the most part, we can get into it a little bit more. As we talk about, we look into specific markets in each specific town. Values are up, and it's all because of the lack of inventory that we have in each town. It's just not. I think we're less than 1 month right now from the standpoint of
correct.
1 to 1. Every market home that comes on the market, one is selling, and that's just the market, the world we live in right now.
Yeah, and that's not really going to change anytime soon, based upon what we're seeing in the projections and what have you. So it's just, it's still a rapidly moving market here for sure.
It takes a while for inventory to grow. It doesn't just change. You don't have 3 months of more properties coming on the market that sell and all of a sudden have the market change. It doesn't take 3 months. It takes 18, 21. And that just not. You don't see that really changing too much right now. There's no owner that's buying up, or there's no owner that's selling to downsize. Especially if you have to take out a mortgage. Well, interest rates don't hinder people in buying a property because, again, it's a want to, not a have to. And if you're on Zillow or whatever site you're using, realtor.com, and you're pricing out your property, you're doing it based on a 7% interest rate, not 4%. That was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You're doing it based on 7%, so you know what you're getting into. But with that said, if you're looking to say, hey, I'm going to go from a 3 or 4 bedroom to a 5 or 6 bedroom, but I don't want my mortgage payment to be more than my primary home, so I'm going to sit. I'm going to wait. Well, until that changes, those people aren't selling. And if you want to downsize, but I got to take out a mortgage to now downsize, but I don't want my mortgage payment to be more than my primary, you're going to wait. So as long as that happens, that's a whole section of a seller's market that's not doing anything.
Not coming to market.
They're not coming to market. Or why should I get a new construction and pay X amount on a rate when I can just upgrade the one that I own, get all the features and benefits that I would in a new construction, and I still own this outright.
Yeah.
So that there's things that need to change in order for the market to change, and it's not just inventory. People are like, oh, the rates are going to drop and the market will change. It won't. It'll just bring more buyers in with still less inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges you run into here is that the way the towns are, right? It's bay to beach. So you might have somebody that, if they're more beach people, right? Because some people want to be on the bay. They're not beach people. So, but you have those people where they're in a given block and they would sell to move up a block, and someone wants to move up a block to get closer to the beach. So it's this rollover. Oh. And right now, the challenge you're running into, as Joe was saying, you might have someone that's sitting right here and they're like, man, I'd like to get another block, a block and a half closer to the beach. But in order for them to do that, their interest rate is going to double. And by the way, their price is going to double. Yeah. So they're like, this is a lose-lose. So if they don't make that move, then this person back here doesn't have their move up. This person doesn't have their move up. And the person who wants to come into the market doesn't have their starter.
Yeah.
So there's that whole flow that has to happen. I mean, right now we're sitting in certain circumstances where you take a town like Ocean City for balanced markets, right? Historically, we carry 700-800 properties all time. There's 280. that's not balanced. And so when people say, "Oh, well, when's it going to become a buyer's market?" It's like, if you're looking for, you got to get balanced before then even shifts over to that way, right?
Yeah.
We got to get back to balance first. And so that's one of those moments where, again, where we always say it is a buyer's market, because your value at the shore is always going to increase, you know? And if you're wondering about pricing, it's like, well, the best time to buy was 5 years ago. And the best time before that was 5 years before that, and 5 years before that.
Yeah. So it's going to be 5 years. 5 years. Because 5 years from now, you're going to be like, man, I wish I bought in 2023. Well, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
It kind of goes along with like what earlier we were talking about questions you always get asked by clients. Probably one of them is like, when's a good time to buy?
Yeah. Yeah. Now. When are you ready? Right? Yesterday. Yeah. You missed it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. As an aside, I was talking to a seller, and a potential seller, and we were just talking. He was saying how, I think it was his grandfather had this lot, and he was working. There's a developer who had all these different lots in the town, and they were friends. And he needed a place to build because he had a lot of his workers were there. He was on the fishing industry. So he had his guys who on the boats work on the boats, so he would have spots for them to live. So he said to him, how much for this lot, which was literally a half a block to the beach? I mean, it was like, if it's 50 steps, it was far to the beach. It was $400. And he thought he was getting totally ripped off because the guy had just paid $200 like the year before or something. And he's like, you're ripping me off, you're ripping me off. And he bought it, never talked to the guy ever again. And then like 20 years later or whatever, you know, whatever ridiculous number of years later it was, 40 years later I think it was, someone knocked on his door and offered him like $1.5 million. And it was like, so I guess it was probably a good price, right? Because he said to him, like, it'll never be worth 400. He goes, I'll give you your 400, but it'll never be worth 400. It's only worth 200 when you bought it. And 1.4 million later, some crazy number. So that's, you know, they're always going to go up in value.
Yep.